Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn one of the very interesting topic, project management fundamentals. If you reflect, I'm sure you must have done a lot of projects in the past. That birthday party, that final year project. When you reflect, you must have noticed you had a game plan, a method and approach that you had used to deliver your projects within the deadline. You delivered as per your plan, and in the process you got huge satisfaction from your professor for that final year project or your guest at home for that birthday party. Today we're going to learn about that framework or structure that will allow you to give a consistent and predictable outcome from the projects you do in future. Hi, I'm Sumante, an experienced project manager with 25 plus years of work experience. I'm a PMP certified from PMI USA, and I've also served as a pro bono board member at one of the local chapters in India. At the heart, I'm also a quality professional. I work in a senior leadership position in one of the big multinational, and I have delivered a lot of global projects on IT deployment and the quality management system deployment. I'll be happy to share those experiences with you, and I will also be happy if you can bring your examples to this forum, because when we share each other's experience, the whole learning will be super, and I'm looking forward to your participation in this training. At any point, if you have any question, raise the hand button and let us discuss the points you bring. So let's get started. Here is the learning outcomes that you are going to have from this training module. You are going to learn what is project management, why project management is important, and the benefits also having a project management formal certification. You will learn the project phases and the knowledge areas, and as I mentioned, you will also learn one of the important topic, the stakeholders management today. And we will wrap it up with quick questions and answers. So what is a project and why project management? If you refer to that college project or the final year project or your birthday party, there was a reason you did that, right? So there was an expectation and you did something to make sure you delivered what was expected. So in a business context, those expectations are nothing but the stakeholders' expectation. For example, the business would like you to increase the capacity of a plant by 40% or improve the market share by 10%. And then you do a series of projects or a bunch of projects and get those business outcomes, which can be improved free cash flow or higher margin. So what is happening is, to meet the stakeholders' expectation, we have to do a bunch of projects, and only when we do those bunch of projects using the project management principles, we ensure we get the project success. And only when we get the project success, we get the enterprise success. So this is a great link which connects the stakeholders' expectation with the enterprise success. So what is a project? This is the simplest definition of project, which is given by the PM Book of Knowledge by PMI. A project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. The reason it is temporary because it has to be time bound, and the reason it is unique because if something is already there, then we do not need to do any project, right? We wanted to increase the capacity because I did have a lower capacity. I wanted to increase the market share because my market share was low. So we want to create a unique product or service, and hence we want to do a project. And project management is nothing but application of knowledge, skills, tools, methodologies, and techniques in order to meet project requirements, to meet or exceed stakeholders' needs and expectations. If you see here, always it is the stakeholders whose needs are important for us to make the project success. And today in this module, we are going to learn the stakeholders management in more detail. The project manager is unique, and I love project management because project management is the guy that connects the decisions taken to the in the boardroom to the results that one sees in the balance sheet. You as a project manager is always the go-to guy because people know that if they give you the project, you can get them done on time. In other words, project manager or project management means the planning, organizing, and directing the completion of the specific projects for your organization while ensuring they're done on time, budget, and within scope. You as a project manager, you have you hold the lever which will control the time to deliver the project, the cost or the budget that has been given to you to deliver the project, and also the scope that needs to be delivered on the project. At the same time, making sure all the quality expectations from your stakeholders are also met. And this is not going to be easy. You need, you as a project manager need specific competencies, and these competencies are also provided by PMI. And let me tell them, the first competency is the leadership competency, which is the competency for guiding, motivating, and directing a team towards a common purpose. The second competency is the technical and the project management skills, which is specific to a domain. And also, as a project manager, you need to understand the strategic and the business side of things, the knowledge and expertise of the industry and the organization. Then only you will be able to get things done on time and will be the go-to guy who will be at the driver's seat to always get the things done. Doesn't it sound interesting? One of the most often asked questions, yes, I know project management, but do I really need to get a certificate? And my answer is yes. The certification is really worth it because it's add value to your resume. It provides industry recognition. I get a lot of invitation to contribute to the PM journals. I get invitation to be on the panel discussion, keynote speakers. So you are known in the industry once you're certified. You also have a lot of learning skills to get things done on time. And also one interesting statistics I would like to share. Once you're PM certified, you also get higher income because there was one research done and it showed that project managers without certification, they are getting the median income of 91,000 USD per year. Whereas the project managers who have a certification, their median income is 108,000 US dollars per year, which is 18% more. So it also contributes to higher income. Needless to say, it also increases your networking opportunities. And you must have heard your net worth is your network. And also it validates that you know your job. It validates the management looks up to you and you get the best project that is going to add value to you as well as the organization. And this is my favorite one. I always feel a project management skill is just not a technical or esoteric thing. It is a life skill. You do anything. You build a house, you make a travel fan, you do a mountaineering, trekking. You always need the project management skill to get things done, to manage your risk, to make sure your stakeholders are the most satisfied. So I feel if you invest in project management, it is the investment for your future and definitely worth it. Now let's see the phases and processes of project management. Any project, depending on the complexity and various other factors, will have life cycles, various life cycle phases. Like the common example, there will be a phase related to starting the project, organizing and preparing, carrying out the work, and ending the project. The life cycle phases depends on the industry, organization, project management technique used, and also on the software and other things. So different projects, different levels of complexity will necessitate different life cycle phases, which will be also controlled through some gated process or stage gate process. Now, in each phase, one needs to do a lot of activities to get the deliverables. When we look at those activities can be grouped into phases, and PMI call them as process group. Those activities which are related to initiate the work are called initiating processes. Those which help to plan are planning process. Those which help to execute the work is executing processes. Those that help to monitor are monitoring and control processes. And those activities which help to close a particular life cycle phase are called the closing processes. Now, each of the life cycle phases may include activities from one or all of the process groups. PMI has also provided 10 knowledge areas. Knowledge areas are areas of specialization commonly employed when managing projects, because these are the skills that allows one to deliver as per the expectation. Those knowledge areas are project integration management, which integrates the various activities, the scope management, which manages the scope of the project, time management, the cost management manages this cost, quality management, HR management, communication, risk, and procurement. However, today we are going to learn one of the most important topic, which is called the project stakeholders management. I have heard many project managers coming to me and saying, I worked so hard, but the project was not a success. I did not get appreciated well. And I reply to them, whom do you think decides your project success? No prizes for guessing it right. It is your project stakeholders. So, who are your stakeholders and what is a project stakeholder? Stakeholders, simply put, are the people involved in or affected by your project activities. That is the simplest definition. But if you want to look into more comprehensive one, it is an individual group or organization that may be affected by, or perceive itself to be affected by a decision, activity, or outcome of project, program, or portfolio. So these guys or these group decides whether you have done a good job. They decide a promotion. They decide what your future. So stakeholders management, understanding of stakeholders is absolutely important for a project manager. As a project manager, stakeholder satisfaction has to be identified and managed as an important project activity. And high profile research have shown that many big project disasters have happened because the stakeholders were poorly managed, or the stakeholders' expectations were poorly managed. The stakeholders will include the project sponsor, project manager, project team, regulatory bodies, users, suppliers, and also the negative stakeholders or opponents of the project. There will be some people who would not like the outcome of the project, and even those people's expectation also needs to be managed well. So, in a nutshell, this is absolutely important area and often the most overlooked one. So let us now see what are the various activities one needs to do on stakeholders management. As I mentioned, the stakeholders management is the most critical but often most overlooked one. This is that area which needs demonstration of the maximum leadership skill, because you have to understand the people, you have to understand what are the intentions. So this is absolutely critical. There are basically four processes for stakeholders management. The first is identify stakeholders. So as project managers in this phase, one has to understand the interest, involvement, and influence of each and every stakeholders, why they want this project to succeed or why they want this project not to succeed. One needs to have a completely understanding of that picture. The second phase is plan stakeholders engagement. In this one needs, or the project managers needs to develop an approach to involve the stakeholders during the project life cycles. The third phase is the manage stakeholders expectation. Here, the project manager needs to manage the communication, the ongoing communication, and working with them to meet their needs. Because as I mentioned, stakeholders are absolutely critical. Their needs have to be met as one of the important objectives of the project. And in the fourth phase, which is a monitor stakeholders engagement phase, one needs to monitor how is the communication, how is the engagement going on. Does it need more fine tuning? Do we need to change the path, etc.? So one needs to be completely in control of all these four phases to do a good stakeholders management. Let's elaborate the first one, identify stakeholders. In this one, as I mentioned, we need to identify interest and engagement of the stakeholders. And the benefit of this phase is we can get the appropriate focus of engagement. This phase needs to be performed periodically throughout the project, and the inputs, tools, and techniques and outputs are also provided here. The second phase, which is the planned stakeholders engagement, it needs to develop approaches to involve the stakeholders. Some different stakeholders will have different expectations. Different stakeholders need to be engaged in different ways. So as project manager, one needs to develop those approaches. And the benefit of this phase is that it will create an actionable plan to engage. This phase also needs to be performed periodically throughout the project as needed, and the input tools and outputs are also mentioned. The third stage is the manage stakeholders expectation. This involves communication and working with the stakeholders to meet their expectation. And the benefit of this stage is the project manager using this phase will garner the support and minimize the resistance from the stakeholders. This is absolutely the key to deliver the project on time and within the project constraints. This phase also needs to be performed periodically throughout the project as needed. And again, the inputs, tools, and techniques and outputs are provided here. And the fourth phase is the monitor stakeholders engagement. As I mentioned, in this phase, the project manager needs to find out whether the techniques that has been deployed are working well, so that the project manager can tailor the strategies as and when required. And the benefit of this phase is it enhances the stakeholders engagement. Again, this needs to be performed periodically throughout the project as needed, and you can see the inputs, tools, and techniques and output from this particular phase. As I had mentioned, the one of the key expectation of the project manager is to do the integration management, because they may not have all the knowledge, the technical knowledge, but they have to integrate all the project management process to deliver the project within the constraints. This is the responsibility that should not be delegated to anyone. So this slide shows the how the stakeholders integration management happens. So the four phases that was explained in the previous slide, identify stakeholders is a part of the initiate process group. The engagement, the planned stakeholders engagement is part of the planning process group. That means whenever we are doing a planning, we need to also plan for the stakeholders engagement. Similarly, the third phase, the manage stakeholders engagement is part of the executing process group. So whenever we are doing any activities related to the execution of the project, we also need to perform the stakeholders engagement related activity. And the fourth phase, monitor stakeholders engagement, it is related to the monitoring and process control groups. And the project manager needs to make sure he or she is on the top of it. Only then can the project manager ensure that the project has taken care of all the stakeholder expectation, and he or she will make sure the project glides to the victory line or glides to the finishing line on time and within the constraints of the project. So let's recap our understanding of stakeholders management with two questions. The first question: which of the following is not a tool used to manage a stakeholder's engagement? And your options are A, communication method, B, interpersonal skills, C, management skills, and D, issue log. And the answer is D, the issue log. This may have looked hard for you, isn't it? But it was not so difficult to reason out because the issue log is the primary output of the managed stakeholders engagement process. So it is not a tool. So now let's go to the second question, which is which of the following is not a classification of stakeholders engagement? And the answer is C, participating. The 5 states of stakeholder engagement are unaware, resistant, neutral, supportive, and leading. Participating might seem to make sense, but it is not a classification since the project manager does not typically need to measure the engagement of team members participating on the project. Hence, participating or option C is the correct answer in this case. So we will have more such questions, and also I encourage you to go through the full course to get the full value from the project management practices. If you have any question, please feel free to revert back. I'm looking forward to our next session with you. Thank you so much.